So you've made it to the right place. You're interested in brewing some kombucha at home. My name is Mike Greenfield and I'm the founder of Pro Home Cooks, and I've been brewing kombucha at home for years now. But before I was brewing it at home, well, I was buying it in the store, spending $4, $5, $6 a bottle every single time I wanted some kombucha. And the problem was, I really liked this drink. I liked the flavor of it. I liked the health benefits I was getting from it, but I didn't like the dent it was leaving in my wallet because I was consuming a lot of it and it really added up over time. But then one day my friend, Farmer John, came over my house and he had a bottle of homemade kombucha, and I tasted it and I was blown away. I didn't know that you could really brew this at home. I didn't know it was so obtainable. This was before I really knew much about fermentation at all, and that was all I needed. Just that little taste was enough to send me on an obsessive journey to brewing kombucha at home. So I started experimenting, trying different techniques, trying different flavors, and I started to realize pretty quickly that the stuff I was brewing at home was tasting much better than the store-bought stuff. Not to mention, it was only costing a few bucks to brew like 10 or 12 bottles at a time, so I was saving a ton of money. So of course I wanted to spread my new passion, so I started putting out a few videos on kombucha on my YouTube channel, Pro Home Cooks, and they racked up millions of views, which was so cool to see that so many people were inspired by kombucha. But I kept getting the same questions over and over again, which totally made sense because it's really tough to get all the knowledge and all those little details that you need to brew really good kombucha at home just from 1 or 2 videos online, which is why I created Kombucha University, which is the most comprehensive kombucha course on the internet, covering every single element of kombucha brewing at home that you need to know to make kombucha that is better than the store-bought stuff for just 1/10 of the price. Whenever you're embarking in a new process like this, it can be a little scary. I know the first time I went to make homemade kombucha, I was definitely nervous. You know, this thing smells different. There's weird things growing. The taste is something you're probably not used to. And that's why I wanted to create this course, to really walk you through and give you the confidence every step of the way, so you're guaranteed to make great kombucha the first time. Because I don't want you investing in the process and buying the supplies and then just brewing kombucha once. That's not the point. I want you to become obsessed, a lifelong kombucha brewer, so you don't have to buy the store-bought stuff. So you're making this stuff weekly for your family, for your friends, for yourself. And whether you're a first-time brewer and you've never made kombucha before and you have no idea how this process works, or maybe you've brewed a few batches and you're just looking to level up your skills, Kombucha U is the perfect place for you. I'm covering everything from beginner's kombucha, where I really hold your hand through the whole process, all the way up to advanced techniques, where we're really gonna be experimenting with new flavors and new teas and learning some science behind kombucha. But what I want to do right now is show you step by step how this course is going to break down, how I'm gonna guide you along the journey of kombucha brewing, so you're brewing incredible batches of kombucha the very first time you go to brew. So one of the main concerns I hear from a lot of people is about the safety of kombucha. Brewing kombucha at home, is this safe? There's weird things floating around. You're keeping it at room temperature. And that's why the first section of Kombucha U is all about setting yourself up for success. Understanding the fermentation process and the different techniques for brewing kombucha. So when it comes to brewing your first batch, you're feeling super confident right away. And also setting up your space for brewing kombucha, which is one of the reasons I love this drink, because before I got this studio, I was brewing kombucha successfully in my tiny little apartment in my closet for years. So I'm gonna teach you how to set up your space properly. And another reason I love brewing kombucha is that it's really cheap to start up. You know, I have all this beer equipment up here, and beer is a little complex, and one of the main reasons I started brewing was because I wanted to brew something. I wanted to get into fermentation and making homemade beverages. So kombucha was just like one step down on the complexity, plus the equipment was really cheap. So I have an entire section on equipment in Kombucha U, where I'll teach you how to get started all for under $50. Your entire kombucha brewing kit for under $50. And if you do want to level up and you want to get that dream kit, I'll teach you how to build out my tricked out kombucha kit. And that's one of the main things I see people doing wrong. It's just not having the proper kombucha brewing equipment. And it's the reason you would brew decent kombucha compared to brewing incredible kombucha that tastes much better than the store-bought. But of course, most importantly, the life force of your kombucha, the SCOBY right here. And I'm gonna be teaching you everything you need to know about mastering the SCOBY, how to create a SCOBY completely from scratch if you wanna save money, how to get the best possible SCOBY online, and also how to create this thing right here, the SCOBY Hotel, which is really gonna be your secret weapon for jump starting your kombucha. So I would say the section I'm most excited about in Kombucha U is the beginner section, where I'm really gonna be holding your hand through the entire process, because I know this is overwhelming, especially the first time you brew. So I'm gonna be taking you step by step through the entire brewing process, and then when it comes to the actual fermentation, we're gonna be doing daily check-ins to see how your kombucha is fermenting, to see that SCOBY growth, because people are always writing me on Instagram, sending me private message of their SCOBY pictures, and they're concerned that something's wrong, that it doesn't look like what they've seen online. So you'll know exactly how your SCOBY should be growing day by day until you have that perfectly fermented kombucha. And then after our daily check-in, our kombucha is done fermenting and it's time to carbonate, which is by far the #1 question I get when it comes to kombucha brewing. How do I get proper carbonation? You've seen the pictures and the videos I post on social media of that perfectly carbonated kombucha, and you want the same results, and I don't blame you. That's really what takes kombucha to the next level. It takes it from a fermented tea to something really special, a perfectly effervescent beverage. So I've dedicated an entire section to flavoring and carbonating your kombucha to guarantee that you have perfect carbonation results, because I know it is so integral to brewing at home. And the awesome thing about brewing kombucha at home is it's really a new adventure every time you go to brew, because there's just endless ways to experiment, to get better at brewing, to try new flavors and new techniques, which is why I created the advanced section of Kombucha University, which is dedicated to taking your kombucha to the next level, where we're gonna be experimenting with new techniques, different types of teas, different types of flavorings. I just want you to imagine the idea of brewing kombucha at home and on the other side having a big old case of bottles that cost you a few dollars to make. You're literally printing kombucha money, and there's no better feeling than going to the supermarket and walking by that kombucha aisle knowing that you have a ton of homemade bottles at home and you don't have to spend $5 every bottle. That is instant savings right there. And really, after brewing 2 batches of kombucha at home, you've already paid off your kit. So you're well on your way to kombucha savings. And if you have extra kombucha, this is one of my favorite gifts to give out. Your friends are going to love this. You bring this to a picnic and you pop open a bottle of freshly carbonated kombucha with whatever flavor you're experimenting with, your friends, your family, they're gonna be blown away. So you can see why I'm so passionate about brewing this beverage at home. It's the reason I created Kombucha University. I wanna share that passion with you and give you all the skills and knowledge needed to not just have you brewing kombucha once and moving on. I wanna turn you into a lifelong kombucha brewer, where you become obsessed with this process and you start saving a ton of money and get all of the benefits of consuming this probiotic-rich beverage without having to spend a ton of money to buy it in the stores. So if you're interested in enrolling in Kombucha University today, make sure you click the big red button below and you'll get instant access to my kombucha course with over 3.5 hours of kombucha content. And I'm so confident in this kombucha course that if you're not brewing kombucha that tastes better than the store-bought stuff after your first batch, your first round of brewing, then I will give you a full refund on the course. On top of getting instant access to the course, I've got a few very special bonuses that you'll be getting if you enroll today. The first bonus is access to my ultimate flavor guide. Like I said before, there are endless options when it comes to brewing kombucha, and I want to give you my top flavors. I've been experimenting for years and I've collected my favorite flavors. So you'll be getting my ultimate kombucha flavor guide. You'll also be getting access to the kombucha calculator that I've created, where you can just input the amount of kombucha you want to make, if you want to make 1 or 2 or 3 gallons, and then it will give you the exact amount of ingredients that you need, which is incredible to have. It's a huge bonus. It's something that I wish I had when I started brewing kombucha. And the last bonus, which is only available for the first 100 people who enroll in Kombucha U, is live calls with me, because I know there's going to be a lot of questions, especially for the beginners. So after every section, we're going to be hopping on live calls where you can ask me all of your questions about the brewing process, about your SCOBY formation, just any questions you have along the way. I'll be answering those to make sure you're brewing perfect kombucha. But make sure you click that red button below and enroll soon if you want this special offer, because once the timer on this page hits 0, enrollment for Kombucha University is officially over. And anyone who's taken my sourdough course knows that once enrollment's over, it's not opening up for months. So this is your chance to enroll in Kombucha University today and gain all the confidence to brew better than store-bought kombucha. And I'm telling you, this drink will change your life. It's why I continue to make this drink batch after batch. I just feel better when I'm making this drink, when I'm consuming it daily, but I could never consume it daily if I was buying it in the store. I would be broke. And not to mention, I just enjoy the process of making kombucha. It's one of the most fun food projects out there, and once you have that base knowledge and you have that confidence, you're just gonna be having a blast experimenting with kombucha, sharing it with your friends, bringing it to parties and picnics, and not to mention passing on your SCOBYs. That's another awesome part about kombucha. Every time you brew, you multiply your kombucha so you can share it with your friends. Get your friends involved in a healthy hobby. So if you're interested in any of this and really mastering the art of kombucha brewing at home, make sure you click the big red button to enroll and get your seat in Kombucha University today, and I will see you in the first class.